Like and subscribe right now, or else this will be in your bed tonight. r/ask Reddit by Planet Reddit. What is the most inappropriate question you've been asked at a job interview? Would you like to increase your chances at this job by having dinner with me? Would you like to increase your chances at having a dinner with me by hiring me? You're hired. Not me, but a friend was asked whether she was a dot or feather. I am not kidding. I always liked. Are you casino or Slurpee? Thank you. Come again. I had a candidate I was interviewing ask me whether I smoked weed. He was telling the interview panel that he did, and that this showed he would fit in well with the office social scene. This was for a job at a government department in London, and it was really not that kind of place. Exactly. He should have known you all do coke instead. What an amateur. By coke do you mean small children? We're not hiring right now. Why and how did you get into my office? I was in the wrong building. I didn't get the job. I'm a security expert. I just wanted to prove that your office is lacking in critical security infrastructure. Any corporate spy could have waltzed right in here, accessed your private data, and sabotaged your network. Hire me at $90,000 per year and I will ensure that what I just did will never happen again. No, you have to say something that leaves you with an out, like I will drastically improve your security procedures so that a corporate spy walking on into your office would be harder than flying to the moon. That way when someone does, you can just say, hey, I didn't say it would never happen again. I was told once that I looked about birthing age and asked when I was going to start having children. I just got up, said thank you for your time and walked out. Edit. It wasn't so much offensive as it is illegal in my province to ask about family, sexual orientation, religion, etc. for purposes of discrimination, and it made me not suddenly want to work with someone who would ask that in a professional setting. I would have walked out if he asked if I was married or what church I went to. If you break a well-known law in the interview, what type of employer would you be? Highly illegal question in the United States. I love your response. Years ago, my wife was at a start of year back to school night at the school where she taught 6th grade, and at the time she was about 5 months pregnant. In reference to my wife, one of the mothers angrily told the principal, she shouldn't be allowed to work here if she's pregnant. She's just going to go on maternity leave anyway. To his credit, the principal replied, are you suggesting that our teachers should not be allowed to have children? And the idiot backed down. I sat in an interview with my boss who is always inappropriate. We were interviewing someone from India, and this genius asked if he knew this other person who happens to be also. Yeah dude. Over 1 billion people from India and they all know each other. Edit. A lot of people asked if they knew each other and the answer is no. Thanks for the gold. Was this Ranjit? Everyone knows that mother ucker. You know Ranjit? That motorboat in son of a BCH. The staff had to wear company polos every shift, and in the interview I was asked what size shirt I'd wear. I was told by the interviewer that they wanted to make sure the new employee would fit into the previous employee's polo shirts so they wouldn't have to buy 3 new polos. Would not want to work there if that was their attitude. Time off? Nope. Pay rise? Nope. Safety gear wear necessary? Nope. If they're not willing to equip you for the job properly in the interview, you can put money on them not looking after you when you've joined. I was once asked if I would be willing to change my name because the owner of the company had the same name and we absolutely have to know who it is when she calls. I suggested a nickname and was told I couldn't use that either. The department head had that name. Nope, my way out of there. T-Bone? No. Coco. My so got asked if he had given or received butt sex in the past 12 months. It was an interview for work insurance. I actually don't think that is too outlandish. I have a friend and he knows all the other S in town. They're all good friends and hang out together. If I ever meet him, he probably knows them. I think you're in the wrong comment thread. They asked me to name my favorite Muppet and I was totally not prepared for it. No Beaker answers yet? You're all distasteful bastards if you don't think Beaker is the best. Edit. Meep for the gold mate. Bunsen frickin' Honeydew. I interviewed for a semiconductor company in Silicon Valley in a 3-tier interview process. The interview was about an hour long and each manager took turns asking me questions about my experience and skills. After the second manager was done, he informed me that the last interviewing manager was running late because he had a flat tire and to please be patient. I waited about 25 minutes before he finally showed up and walked into the room, closing the door behind him. It was an older guy with dirt and sweat on his face and visibly frustrated from having to change his tire out. He sat down and stared across the table from me and said, "They probably asked you every technical question I would ask of you anyway." He paused and said, "Do you want the yucking job or what?" I was really taken back by the raw emotion this man was expressing to me. I replied with the same brute force "Uck yeah." I told him, "Just kidding. Actually," I said, "yes, I really do," in a timid voice. He said, "Uck it. The job is yours. Let me go get the paperwork started." I ended up working there for 5 years. He was quite the manager to work for, as you guys can imagine. And this is exactly why I slash all of my interviewers' tires the night before I go in. So it was you. My office. Now. I was asked if I ever watch choreography, which didn't seem like such a big deal to me at first. Trying to be honest, I answered yes. I was then asked what kind of stuff. I need specifics. For context, I am a male and the interviewer was female, and this was for a government job. Well, you know the really weird stuff? Yep, weirder stuff. Edit fantastic. My top scoring comment is now about weirdo stuff. The job interview stuff mostly, you know what I mean? Interview for a web dev job. How do you make cheese? I mean, I gave it a good answer because I know how cheese is made, but still. Well, first heard Goog, you're hired. As a web developer at a large firm. That's exactly the answer they are looking for. The field changes a lot. New techniques, trends, and technologies, and new problems from those techniques, trends, and technologies. You want someone who is willing to learn and research, because that's 90% of the job. If the company is serious about innovation, which any good web company is, you won't be getting the same requests over and over. You'll be asked to branch out and push boundaries, breach uncharted territory. "I don't know how to do that," and "I can't do that," aren't acceptable answers, and developers who throw that around are seen as dead weight. "I'm not sure, but I'll be happy to research that and get back with you," is what they want. Well, I guess it was more my answer that was inappropriate, but I was asked what is your best skill talent, and I answered my cleavage and made the holding OS gesture. I got the job. Was a cocktail bartender job. The guys interviewing me were typical distant managers under 25 and giggled like little beaches. Putty in my hands, huh? Edit. Apparently I have ruined the work of the suffragettes and ME. It was a laugh, people. True story, but I genuinely got the job because I was a good bartender. Calm down. As a chubby dude, when I tried that, all I got was stares. Damn unfair society. Sup? I was being interviewed for a job at a small law firm. I was being interviewed by the office manager, and the associate attorney was sitting in. After all the skill questions, the office manager goes, "So are you married? Do you have kids?" "We are very family oriented." The attorney jumped in. "You can't ask those types of questions." After a few more get to know you questions, she said, "So are you a Christian?" Attorney jumped in again. Jesus fucking Christ. You can't ask that either. I did get the job. It was a fun place to work at. Edit. Wow, this blew up. This is the kind of things the associate attorney would leave on my desk. I like how Jesus fucking Christ is an appropriate exclamation. What was the job? New office manager? Why, I didn't grow my own vegetables. Seriously. To add context, it was a web administrator's job. She also asked me thrice what my blood group was. I don't even know. I didn't get the job. Thankfully. Everyone knows A negatives grow cabbages at their compost yards. O plus here. Carrots as far as the eye can see. Are you ovulating right now? Edit. Oh wait. Most inappropriate question I have been asked. No, but I'm getting a vasectomy tomorrow if that counts. I'll allow it. Name something innovative you've done at work. BCH. I work at a retail pharmacy and I'm applying for an distant management job with the same company. You know damn well that we don't get the opportunity to be innovative. Edit. I get it, guys. You steal the drugs and sell them on the streets. Also, I responded to this one, but I got a lot of comments just like it. You can change policies. Not unless your management. Suggest new software for inventory or looking up customers. Implement a rewards program. Suggest making an app for customers for mobile ordering and tracking of their prescriptions. Not in a heavily corporate mandated retail job where any suggestions taken by employees are not taken seriously at all. It's a dumb question given the circumstances. In a lot of retail jobs, you're judged on your skills. Your ideas on a macro scale aren't taken into consideration and your micro scale ideas don't matter to people above you. I like to mix the pills to see if different pills will cure other illnesses. It must be working because some of them don't come back. Like replacing cancer medication with Zima, edit. For those talking about cancer medication coming in pill form. This was a reference to an episode, or 2 episodes, from the show Archer where he gets cancer then finds out that the medicine he takes through his chest port is actually just Zima and was replaced by some mobsters who steal the real medicine and sell it. I think it was for chemo. Join our community Discord, link in description. I went to some blank interview once. The company had a blind ad and the interview took place in a conference room at a local hotel. When I got there, I discovered it was me and a room full of middle-aged men. I was the girl in my late 20s, all of us with a background in sales. Finally, we got some weird dog and pony show about the company, who still didn't give us a name, and how they sold a wide variety of products and services across multiple industries. They wanted us to come up front one at a time, give our name, our age, where we went to college, tell whether we were married, how many kids we had, and what our long-term goals were. I was the only one who asked why my age, marital status or number of children was required, mainly because I had a background in HR and knew they couldn't legally ask that shit. After that portion was over, they told us they'd be calling within the next 2 hours to invite some of us back for round 2, and in round 2 we had to bring our spouses with us, so they could talk to them, too. They called me back and I didn't even bother answering the phone. I still have no idea who the hell they were. They may have asked the questions about kids and spouse to see how many people in your household. When you go back with your spouse, they will know that no one is home. If no kids or kids are in school, they rob your house. I suspect that this happened to my neighbor. They were at a timeshare seminar when their house was randomly broken into. That is some genius level scumbag shit there. If I plan to get pregnant soon. Illegal. I study economics. This is a huge reason why employers don't want to hire women in that age range. While highly illegal, it is almost impossible to make a case against an employer. That's why I always start my cover letter by disclosing my infertility. I was asked by one gentleman if I liked to party. I was then informed by the interviewer that he liked to regularly snort coke. He then followed that up with, if you are hired, you should come hang out with us. A bunch of the guys in management like to hit up some random strip club in town during lunch and get plastered. Hey, life tip, marry a stripper. They stay hot as uck for a long time. Most are bisexual and some will bring home their co-workers for you to suck. The only shitty part is the warts. Just get em burned off. 0-0. I was expecting Ashton Kutcher to bust through a door at any moment and say I was punked. Never happened. I was hired. He wasn't trolling. He was dead serious about everything he told me. I've been wondering lately how do you party became the international phrase for do you do coke? Huh? Are you married? Me? Yes. Have been for X years. Her. Do you like it? Me? Yep, it's alright. I guess. Her. Quiet stare. Was the interviewer actually just you're so wearing a fake mustache? Wearing a fake mustache and acting as a female. Interesting ploy. So, interesting ploy. Which church ward I attended? Rural Utah. They can't outright ask you if you're Mormon, so they ask what ward you're from since that's technically asking you a question about geography. Your answer and where you take the conversation next reveals all they need to know about your religious status, which is what they really care about. This is such common knowledge in Utah that I'm surprised nobody has mentioned this already. Not so much a question, but a warning. I was told that the size of my breasts might be an issue since children would want to grab them. Teacher, edit, row, my inbox. I teach all ages to children and adolescents in Japan. They not only grab my breasts, but they also spank my behind. Older students tend to just comment on them. I wear t-shirts but that doesn't hide the size. Ha, a child once did grab mine. I'm fairly well endowed and was teaching English kindergarten in Korea, land of the flat chests. One of my students, a 5-year-old girl, came up to me and looked up at my chest, down at hers, touched mine, squeezed, then went back to her own, asking teacher, why me, number. Haha, something similar happened to me as well. Was teaching English at a kindergarten in Japan. One day, a slightly older student, if memory serves, around 5-6, ran up to me as I was sitting on the floor. She patted me right on the old bosom, proclaiming breasts, and ran off giggling. Interviewer said I looked very youthful, then asked how I expected to keep a class in line if I looked almost as young as the students. B, word for word, asked, what if they rebel? This was for a biochemistry teaching position at a college. What would you do if they rebel? I would unionize them. Wait, unionize or unionize? Edit. Row. Thanks for the or. Completely serious, not an exaggeration. Interviewer was asking some personal but not invasive questions in a kind of pre-interview. We haven't really gotten to the job questions kind of way. So, do you live at home? Are you in school? And whatnot. Then it takes a sharp turn. You have a girlfriend? Yes. How'd you meet? I met her through a friend who I go out to this bar with for trivia. She showed up one night and we started talking and we really hit it off. Not a really exciting story, I'm afraid. You hit it off. Huh, did you? He makes a weird motion with his hands. Did we? I'm sorry, I don't really understand. Did you two go home together when you first met? I think you're asking me if I got physical with my so on our first encounter? That doesn't feel really appropriate. Scoffs and says under his breath, some people are so fucking uptight. Okay, so work questions. I completed the interview and got the job but turned it down. I told this story to my brother and he said it wasn't strange. This is a completely bizarre experience, right? Like, I understand the concept of two dudes shooting the shit and talking about their sex life, but to a stranger you are interviewing to work for you? Definitely weird. What is your current salary? But seriously, I hate this question. My current salary shouldn't be relevant to the discussion of what I'm potentially worth to you as my prospective employer. It just reeks of trying to find the cheapest hire possible, and that's a red flag. Edit. For those who disagree, my reasoning. Not enough to keep me where I am. Next question. That's a solid response. I'm going to remember that for future use. The last time I was asked this question I went with a polite I'm not comfortable sharing that information, and the HR person's face immediately got red and they got defensive. Well, I'm the person you need to talk to about that. Another one from the big boss. While he was interviewing this lady who happened to be a little overweight. Not much but a little. He said, you know, we offer free gym membership, seems like you can use it. I was like, WTF. Man, naked snake isn't a... Not a question, but what I answered. I was doing this interview for a company I already wasn't sure I wanted to work for, and the interviewer was just rubbing me the wrong way. The questions were ridiculous for what was a simple warehouse job, but finally he had a question I could play with. If you could be a bird, what kind of bird would you be and why? Now I knew the answer he was looking for was something stupid like penguin, because they work together to survive the toughest conditions. So of course I replied with, I'd want to be a falcon. You know, flying around above the other birds, striking them when they least expect it. There's a poor little pigeon below me looking around for some food to feed her chicks when I dive down from above and snap her spine in an explosion of feathers, then take her carcass home to feed on. Sometimes, I'd go out hunting and kill the other birds just for fun, the way cats do. I was standing up and making rapid, aggressive motions with my hands simulating the way falcons hunt. I did not get the job. He interrupted a series of normal questions with, would you like to go out on a date after this? You already have the job. I took the job and free meal. He was fired for sexual harassment a month later. The guy asked in a somewhat mumbly muffled voice, you aren't gay or Muslim or anything, are you? To which I replied, I'm not sure. How would you define anything? This ended it for us both. Afterwards I discovered, through an employee, that pre-work prayer was mandatory. That business has since dissolved. Scream, you blew my cover. Allahu Gaber. Now you're going to blow me, whip your D out and start chasing him around the table. Edit. Thanks for the golden 30+ notifications in my inbox. Girl I was dating was asked by her creepy manager what her cup size was. She had quite a large rack, G cup, and it was not for a Hooters Twin Peaks restaurant, so she rightfully stood up, walked out and called the district manager for his store. Edit. Greater than G. Edit 2. Stop PMing me for pics. I do not care about your science experiments. Barbecue place in my town used to ask what religion you are on the application. They're a very Christian organization. I applied for them when I was 19. For the religion question I just answered that is not an appropriate question to ask a job applicant. Never got a call back. But I remember having a few other friends who mentioned that they too applied and noticed the religion question. However, I have since heard they removed that part of the application. They're a very Christian organization. The fact that you can even say this offhandedly about a barbecue restaurant leads me to believe that America is even weirder than I thought. Probably because it's illegal. Edit. It's illegal because it's discrimination. It doesn't matter if it's a church, Chick-fil-A or Tony's Pizza. It's illegal in the US. Unless they have less than 15 employees. I was applying for a job at a well-known Middle East news agency. I'm a journalist with 10 years experience in the field. Lived 2 years in the West Bank. Have reported from Nairobi, Mogadishu, etc. Interview with guy in London. After phone interview and written exam. Question. So, when did you become radicalized? Ever since I discovered BMX. About 2 seconds ago, when you asked that question. I went on this ridiculous interview in Boston's Back Bay one time. Some headhunter company. Take the tea in. Sweat balls in my stupid suit. Find the office on stupid Newbury Street. The first thing the hiring manager tells me is that she isn't interviewing me, and that I need to go to the other office on Boylston. So, okay. I go there and have a wildly generic interview with some guy. He tells me they don't know if they have a position for me, but I should go check with the other office up the street. Okay, I'm a suburb guy. I don't know all about downtown, but I'm getting by finding everything. So I go there and have the exact same interview with some other person. Oh, what brings you here today? I don't know. What is happening? This person then tells me they don't know if there is a position, and to go back to Newbury Street and talk to the original person. Fine. Whatever. I don't even care anymore. So the original person decides she can interview me now. We talk about the Red Sox for a few minutes. I am trying my behind off to not be frustrated and to just talk to her like a person, not an interviewer. You still live at your parents' house. Am I supposed to hire someone that lives in their parents' basement? She twirls her pen and tells me the point of the question was to see how I do under pressure when somebody is putting the screws to you. Yeah, I knew that. Shut up. She said she'd call me. I'd gotten off the tee and back in my car when the original recruiter called me. What do you think? Yeah man, your company sucks sucking DS. I'm good with it. No thank you. Thank you. I feel really bad for the guy that ended up taking that job. The interview was literally how much bullshit can you take from us? If I have a boyfriend. Edit. WTF. So much attention. I was 16 at the time. This was an interview for a job creation measure. Because I didn't do anything to get an apprenticeship after school. My job center sent me there and these people try to get young people an internship at companies so that they maybe get an apprenticeship there. They had a huge catalog of questions. Most of them I already answered on my CV, but they still had to go through them again. And I just found these questions to be really stupid and inappropriate. Maybe they fear I wouldn't come to work and hide at my BF's house or something. IDK really no. Edit 2. No BF at the time, and sadly it was not a comfy casting couch. Instead it was an uncomfy chair without a cushion on it. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for 3 videos a day.